Watkins Glen hosted the first race of the 2012 season. Hugo Luis looked like he was prepared to defend his 2011 championship because he took the pole for the first race of the season. However, in Greger Huttu's 3 previous races at the Glen, he had taken 3 poles and 3 wins. Luis led into the first corner, but Huttu was able to quickly grab the lead away into the carousel with drafting help from his teammate Luke McLean. Unfortunately for Luis, he lost internet connection at his home in Brazil, which put him 3 laps down at the finish. He finished 17th. Greger Huttu continued his streak of domination at the Glen by winning by 16 seconds over Jesse Niemanen. Samuel Liebert finished in 3rd after starting in position number 11. The quest for the 2012 iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series was officially underway. Australian driver Luke McLean, also a series veteran, took the pole for round number 2 at Circuit Park Zandvoort and remained a constant threat all race. However, Hugo Luis used some brilliant pit strategy to put him ahead of Luke on the final stint of the race. Luis was barely able to hold off the hard-charging Australian, who was a little bit lighter on the fuel load, but sealed the deal for his first win of the season. McLean was a mere 1 second behind at the end, and Huttu, who fought traffic all race long, was never able to get into clean air and stretch his legs. He finished 10 seconds behind in 3rd. This would not be the last close race of the season for Hugo Luis. The famed Indianapolis Motor Speedway was the site for round number 3 of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. Hugo Luis was on the pole for the first time in 2012. The slipstream down the long front straightaway allowed Greger Huttu to save a little more fuel than Luis, who pitted on lap 37, 3 laps sooner than the second-place driver of Huttu. By the time the pit stop cycle had completed, Huttu had an impressive 7-second lead over Luis, who was running in position number 2. Huttu would go on to win at the Brickyard in convincing fashion. Luis ended up 2nd, and Jaroslav Hansik completed the podium with a career-best 3rd-place finish. With 3 races complete in the season, the battle for the top spot on the podium and for $10,500 was already off to a very exciting start. Greger Huttu started on the pole for round number 4 of the notoriously bumpy Sebring International Raceway in Florida, but it looked as if Hugo Luis had the better car throughout the entire race. Huttu was able to avoid any huge mistakes and used nearly the same pit strategy as Luis, which allowed him to claim victory for the 3rd time in the first 4 events. Luis was right behind Greger for a majority of the race, which didn't allow the Finn to breathe easy until the checkered flag. Luis finished a scant 0.3 seconds behind, but didn't make any risky moves that would take both cars out on the final lap. It was one of the closest finishes and most exciting finishes of the season. Luke McLean secured another podium position in an effort to rebound from his early troubles at Watkins Glen. The series would head to the Okayama International Circuit for round number 5 of the 2012 season. Greger Huttu impressed everyone again by securing the pole position. However, the Finn would soon find trouble at the very start of the race. After the drop of the green flag, Huttu spun his tires and was in 4th position by the end of the very first lap. Redline teammate Luke McLean got the inside curb a little too much and ended up right in the path of Huttu. They collided and both drivers were forced to retire early from the event. Hatzi Kirchhoff had a chance to secure victory but ultimately lost it by going for a 3-stop strategy instead of 2. Defending champion Hugo Luis scored the win and moved into the overall point lead after round number 5. Round number 6 took the series to Road America, and it started with a bang. An early accident at the start involving Luke McLean and Hugo Luis caused serious damage to both of their race cars. Greger Huttu took the lead, followed by Hatzi Kirchhoff until he lost internet connection on lap 13. Taking advantage of the situation, Roland Enstrom with a 1-stop pit strategy came back to finish 2nd, while Jake Sturgis, the American, finally took 3rd place after fighting with Ilkka Haapala. Greger Huttu ran a perfect race and won with a 21-second gap. Round number 7 of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series was held at the famous Sonoma Raceway in the heart of California wine country. Hugo Luis looked to answer Greger Huttu's impressive win at Road America, but his rival would start just to the outside. Huttu got an amazing start and jumped out in front of the field. This would prove to be a big moment in the race as Greger was able to lead flag to flag and score back-to-back wins after his crash at Okayama. A disappointed Luis came home in second, but Ilkka Happila had an extraordinary run through the field after qualifying 11th and finishing 4th behind Atsi Kirchhoff. Find the narrow Virginia International Raceway in the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, and you get some of the most exciting racing of the 2012 season. Hugo Luis started from the 3rd position directly behind Huttu, who was once again on the pole. Kirchhoff started in position number 2, but found the grass by turn 1 on the initial start. The championship contenders had an entertaining battle for the top spot, with Hugo claiming his 3rd win of the season. Huttu was 2nd, and Roland Enstrom came home in position number 3 after coming back from an eventful first lap tangle. After a much-needed but short summer break, the drivers of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series were ready to get back to the track and compete at Silverstone, who was hosting round number 9. Starting from the pole, Greger Huttu would dominate the majority of the race after Hugo Luis admitted to not having the greatest of fuel strategies. Kirchhoff and McLean had a spirited battle for a majority of the race, but McLean made an error in the bridge corner and went hard into the barrier on lap 60, ending his run for the podium. This was Huttu's 6th win of the season, with Luis claiming victory 3 times so far in 2012 after 9 races. The series went down under the Phillip Island circuit, and Hugo Luis scored yet another dominating win. Dutch hot shoe Atsi Kirchhoff had a short battle with his teammate Huttu for 2nd, but Kirchhoff slipped, which also allowed American driver Jake Sturgis to take 3rd in the final running order. Huttu had missed the Phillip Island race the previous 2 seasons and was satisfied with his 2nd place effort after starting a distant 4th. Just as it looked like Hugo Luis was mounting a comeback in the point battle, Greger Huttu was able to take a critical win over Luis at the MidOhio sports car course in the 11th round of the 16-race series. Hugo started from the pole but was unable to lead the first lap as he saw Huttu slip by. Huttu admitted this was ultimately the most critical moment of his race. His start was arguably one of the most impressive of the season. Luis once again finished 2nd to Huttu and lost valuable ground in the championship hunt. It was now possible for Huttu to finish behind his rival the rest of the season and still remain atop the overall standings. Martin Kroenke, also known as Mr. Consistency, had an impressive run and was able to capture his first podium finish of the 2012 campaign. Road Atlanta is often considered one of the toughest tracks on the schedule. With numerous high-speed turns, it's easy to find trouble at the 12-turn, 2.54-mile American track. Finnish driver Rico Alatalo surprised everyone in qualifying with an impressive lap that secured him the pole position. Americans Stephen Michaels and Jake Sturgis also impressed by starting in the top 3. Alatalo was able to step out to an early lead, but all eyes were on the 2nd place battle of Huttu and Luis. In one of the most controversial moments of the season, Huttu and Luis made minor contact, but it sent Luis spinning into the barrier and severely damaging his suspension and championship hopes. Greger was able to get away from the incident unscathed and went on to score the victory. Alatalo had a career-best 2nd place effort, and Sturgis won a battle with Michaels to secure a podium finish. The famous track set in the rocky and rolling hillside of Belgium, Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps hosted one of the most exciting races of the 2012 season. The 44-lap event hosted the 13th round, and Hugo Luis had an exceptional start, going from 3rd to 1st on the outside in La Source, and by the time the leaders made their way through Eau Rouge, Luis had a commanding lead. Unfortunately for the defending champ, Luis would lose the lead on the final round of pit stops after he exited the pit amidst many lapped cars, which played into the hands of Atsi Kirchhoff, who ultimately inherited the lead. Kirchhoff earned the 1st place finish and was the first driver of the season to stand on the top step of the podium other than Greger and Hugo. Zolder, one of the newest tracks to join the iRacing service, has numerous technical twists and turns. Once the site for F1 races throughout the 70s and 80s, the track's notorious chicanes create a challenge for many drivers, including Spa winner Atsi Kirchhoff, who had trouble with them all day long, bouncing off the curbs numerous times. Hugo Luis was barely able to keep the lead on the final round of pit stops after collecting damage from the chicane curbs, which severely affected his speed out of the turns. It was a tight battle all the way down to the end, but Hugo was able to hold off Greger Huttu by a slim margin and keep his championship aspirations alive. Kirchhoff was able to rebound for another top 5 finish after his impressive win at Spa. Hugo Luis won the pole for the inaugural race at Twin Ring Motegi for the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. He went on to dominate the 64-lap event and secure his 6th victory of the season. However, this wasn't enough to stop Greger Huttu from securing his 2nd title in 3 years. Huttu just needed to finish 12th or better to lock up the championship. He found himself in a fierce battle with Atze Kirchhoff and Martin Kroenke for the 2nd place in the opening laps of the race, which allowed Luis to pull away and never look back. Huttu had scored the necessary points to secure his 2nd iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series title. The 16th and final round of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series was held at the newly scanned Suzuka circuit in Japan. Greger Huttu had already locked up the championship, but there were plenty of other positions on the line, including 4th between Atze Kirchhoff and Roland Enstrom. Kirchhoff had an incredible race from start to finish and led every lap of the event to secure his 2nd win of 2012. However, it wasn't quite enough to overtake Enstrom in the final standings, who salvaged a 6th place finish. A close and exciting battle for 2nd took place as Hugo Luis barely edged Huttu by 0.2 of a second. Huttu is the first driver to win multiple iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series titles, but Hugo Luis made a strong statement for next year as their rivalry will certainly continue well into the future. All of us at iRacing are already looking forward to the 4th year of the championship. Who will take home the biggest prize in sim racing next year? We'll all just have to wait, watch, and see as the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series unfolds in 2013.